What's up, everybody? You're watching Wrestling Warm-Up right here at WrestlingRumors.net, where every single Monday night we join you before Raw to run down the card, run down what we know is going to happen on Raw, talk about what we did and did not like on previous episodes, and all that good crap that we just like to do with you guys here. We've got an esteemed panel of Wrestling Rumors folks joining us today. Of course, Mr. Alex B. Song, AB. What's going on, brother? I like the lower third picture of
yeah, the version of Ryback that Doug can tolerate, who's coming back with a vengeance in like a week or two, coming back bigger and better than ever. Big guy out.
The bigger guy?
Yeah, the bigger guy.
Brian Chichek from, of course, the NB show, which airs on Wrestling Rumors at 4 p.m., 5 p.m. If you've actually been tuning in to the new version of the show. 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on WrestlingRumors.net. They have an awesome guy that runs their Twitter. We're going to get to him in a second. The NB show, awesome stuff. Brian, what's going on, brother?
Nothing much, Doug. Thank you for having me on, and we just launched a giant fundraiser, and that's actually live right now. It should be on our Twitter account at the NB show.
Yeah, we're actually going to have some more information about that fundraiser on WrestlingRumors.net here soon. Chris Walter, Free Walter Sports. You can actually follow him now at Walter Sports 26 because his other one got put in jail. And I love the Monopoly policeman, which is fantastic.
Might as well milk this thing, you know. Free Walter Sports. Oh my God, Jennifer Lawrence. We used to be tight. What's going on, girl?
Well, she used to be tight too, but that's no longer the case. John Alba from WrestlingRumors.net is here. Oh, the grease. I got John Travolta. Do you really want to associate yourself with John Travolta?
It's not John Travolta. It's Danny Zuko.
It is Danny Zuko.
At MLB.com, my nickname is Danny Zuko because one day it was freezing and I came in with a leather jacket.
You always wear that leather jacket. Don't act like you don't always wear that leather.
No, but this was like closer to the summer, so I came in with that and I had my hair slicked and they just go Danny Zuko. So
it's stuck. You're Zuko from now on. Go ahead, change your lower third to Zuko. You're not John Alba anymore.
At Zuko.
But how you guys do it, man? It's a Monday. It's the season premiere of Wrestling Warm Up. I mean, everybody should be excited about this. What's going on? How's everybody's day been?
You said excited about Raw. It's funny.
It's
the season premiere, niggas.
I didn't know I did the season premiere based off NFL seasons. Well, Monday Night Football.
I'm surprised you didn't know. Just like you didn't know I was going to just pull out that Booker T reference.
It is. They're going to get slaughtered tonight.
I want to actually watch the Lions game more than Raw.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got two Giants fans here. You got two Giants fans here. You got a Lions fan there. You got a Pirates fan because the Pirates are in the midst of a playoff race right now. And Doug's just like, I'm in South Carolina. There's no pro sports, but hey.
You got a Steelers fan here who was raised a Steelers fan from his father, and Antonio Brown jump kick every single one of you guys.
The bro kick me.
Shut your lips.
The Brown kick.
The Brown kick. Dead to the solar plexus. That was a Steve Blackman kick to the solar plexus.
It was solid.
Guys, we have a steel cage match on Raw. Let's get pumped. Come on.
Yeah, who gives
we're talking about the real steel curtain because I could care less about the steel cage match. Well, okay, it's going to be a good match. Let's talk about Raw. The steel cage match, as Brian brings up, is actually going to be opening Raw. Why? 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 Why is this Jericho Wyatt cage match the first thing we're going to see tonight?
Because they're trying to attract viewers. They're trying to steal people from the Monday Night Football game, which starts at 7, doesn't it? There's one at 7, right? Yeah, so they're going to try and steal some people. It's probably going to be halftime by the time Raw starts, probably, maybe. I don't know how long football really goes.
Probably in the second quarter.
Second quarter sometimes. So, yeah, they'll be trying to steal viewers. Wyatt and Jericho in a cage isn't going to cut it, though, unfortunately. This feud, we're all assuming that this is pretty much the end-all, be-all of their feud tonight, right? Because I still think we're going to get Jericho Orton at Night of Champions.
That's the route we've been seeing on TV. Is going to be more of a Jericho Orton, program at Night of Champions. But the funny thing is, it's WWE, and if what we've seen the last few weeks is any indication, we may get Wyatt versus Jericho again at Night of Champions, which was the original plan, and they could just start this thing all up again tonight. I'm not looking forward to it, but that's exactly what could happen. I don't know where you go with Orton Reigns, but let's talk about this cage match. You got the Wyatt family with Jericho, and of course the Wyatt family is going to be on the outside. What do you guys think is going to happen here? It's going to be like a 20-minute match?
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
It'll be a solid match. I mean, we'll get 20 minutes or so. It's a matter of what else happens because it can't end cleanly. Jericho's not going over Wyatt clean, and Wyatt's not going over Jericho clean.
It's going to be dirty. Just filthy.
I think maybe the one thing
they'll get suspended.
We can all look forward to is Jericho's current run is coming to an end. So if you want to add any sort of extra juice to it, I don't know if they probably won't make it clear, but for all of us and for everybody watching, the Jericho matches are winding down, so could be one of his last cage matches.
Oh, it's just his run now that's running down. I wouldn't put anything past Jericho at this point.
I'm sure we'll see him again.
Yeah, he'll be back next year.
Yeah, I mean cage matches in general.
Historical significance the last time we see Jericho in a cage. You better tune in tonight.
Only on the season premiere.
Only on the season premiere of Monday Night Raw.
I'm trying, guys.
2014-2015 season that's going to be impeccable. Funny thing is that this isn't the first time they've done this is the season premiere of Raw. Yet, when we talked to Vince Russo on our SummerSlam pre-show, what did he say? There's no such thing as seasons in the WWE. They don't look at it that way. So why the heck are we referencing something as a season premiere?
It's just because it's for logistical purposes, and so Triple H can come out and say it's a new season and things are gonna be epic, and that's exactly what's gonna happen.
Which means that Triple H has to be involved with the finish.
Yeah, I mean it's very possible. Maybe we get a tease cash in tonight. You know, it's what better.
If we get a tease cash in tonight, then Ambrose is coming back, and he's not expected to come back until.
He doesn't have to come back. Cena could just be the conqueror. Remember, Cena has been super lately.
Yeah, they're just building him up to get squashed again in 2 weeks.
So we could get Big Show.
Because we know.
Big Show. Well, it's the Big Show.
It's the Big Slow. It is the fall, and it's the season premiere of the Big Slow's return. Because we all know that the
fall season put the Big Show in the main event
equals Big Show. Well, we got we're going to build these other guys up.
Every
single
year.
Put me in, Coach. Put me in.
Even his first WWF Championship took place during the fall season at Survivor.
Of course it did, and it's one of the and it's like they know. It's one of these things where when you look at the card tonight, you're like, okay, they're trying to go head to head with Monday Night Football. But then for the rest of the fall, it's like the first episode they're like, we're gonna do really good and try to contest with Monday Night Football, and the rest of it's just like, screw it. The Big Show is gonna be our opponent for a champion that's only there 2 weeks out of the build towards pay-per-views. Not gonna be good. Which means we're gonna have Big Show interacting with the Authority and Paul Heyman, which is.
As long as he's not crying.
If he's dealing with the Authority, he's likely gonna be crying. We saw that last year. I could tell you that was probably one of the worst Monday Night Raws I ever went to live. It was in Greenville, South Carolina last November. And no, the crowd was better then than it was after WrestleMania 29. That crowd was absolutely just terrible. Which I want to give a shout out to the boys over at one of those sites that likes to say that wrestling news is wrestling news. They don't like putting our stuff. They referenced an article about fan signs and put a picture of me holding a fan sign of my Doug O'Mac Twitter account, which I had just made a couple weeks prior to going to that event. And the guy was very crass about the fact, well, yeah, buddy, but let's take a fan sign of your Twitter account. Yeah, no one's gonna follow you, idiot. And I was like, yeah, I got like 100 followers off of taking that sign to Raw on a brand new account. So suck it, buddy. You don't know what you're talking about. But that crowd was terrible. The crowd at the November Raw in Greenville was fine. But Big Show's segment where he came out, this was during the whole lawsuit thing. He comes out and in a suit and is threatening to own Triple H and Stephanie McMahon and blah, blah, blah. And the Shield's music hits too early. It was just terrible. Like the whole episode was way too like the production was awful. They were early, so it was awkward, and the interactions between all of them were just absolutely terrible. It was bad. It was absolutely bad. And I'm really hoping that this fall doesn't give us the same thing with the Big Show in that spot.
My biggest problem last year, Doug, was that despite the horrible segments, and there were some bad ones, Big Show got over, and he got over big time to where he was getting huge pops, and he was a huge part of the Rhodes brothers winning the tag team championships, and it worked. But the problem was there was no payoff with him in the main event at all. He just got dropped against Orton, and that was it. And he was just disposed of. So if you're going to spend all that time building him into a credible opponent, which they're going to have to do again now, because you already had Big Show get dropped by Brock Lesnar earlier this year, I mean, come on.
John, you brought up Orton, and I want to ask everybody here, is there anybody, especially since the fall is always slow, does Orton need to take some time off and get some repackaging, or not even repackaging, just get time off so
He's
people
going to turn.
No. Yeah, I mean, a face turn, but...
They can't afford to lose anybody else at this point.
No.
No, he's
When
going
are
to
they
turn
going to give him the
face.
ball to carry the show again for just a little bit of time? Well, when will he ever be in that spotlight again?
Well, I've said over the past couple weeks, especially after this past Monday Night Raw, when we started the show off with everybody saying they want to be the next guy to go against Brock Lesnar, I was on Twitter doing the live tweeting at WrestleRumors and said, this is where Orton turns face. He keeps saying, he keeps reminding Triple H and the Authority that he is deserving a rematch, and those frustrations lead to, God, I hope this isn't right in my head. It's the only way I see it going down first. So, he has a run-in with Kane again, obviously, and then we get into, it's Randy Orton versus the Authority members that are left, and you go from there. I don't think that I don't think it comes before Survivor Series. I think it comes after that, but I think he turns heel somewhere near, late November, early December. I mean, turns face, excuse me. Yeah. Now, I think that's the way to do it, is use his frustrations with the Authority, because they teased that all at the beginning of the year. He was heel and with the Authority, and then he was but not the Authority, and blah 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 blah.
His heel run got the job done. I mean, it definitely did.
When he and the Authority finally decided to be heels, running into Mania.
Right.
But during the fall season, how many times did we see Orton flip-flop and the Authority flip-flop, and they're supporting Orton, and then they're not supporting Orton, and it was ridiculous. And we're on the same track right now to repeat what we saw last year in the fall. I'm not excited about that.
Remember when it was not too long ago, and I've made this point several times, but it needs to be said, where we were talking about Night of Champions being this WrestleMania-esque pay-per-view, and they were trying to build it up as this huge deal just because of the network subscribers, and we're 2 weeks away. A majority of the card still is yet to be announced, and what we have so far isn't really inspiring much confidence unless you're into seeing Lesnar,
The worst part
Cena again.
You're talking about that, Walter. The worst part is they announced the Divas Championship as a triple threat match, correct?
Yeah.
That's not including Brie, which means Brie is going to not even be in the match, and she's going to screw over Nikki, which means the Bella feud is going to freaking hell in a cell. You know what? They may put the Bellas in a cell. They may do it, okay?
It'd be such a waste.
Oh, my goodness.
No,
Waste in a cell.
I think they might actually add Brie to this match, only because when Stephanie made the announcement, why would she put Brie in there? She has this major beef with.
You would hope that that's where they go with it, but if not, my goodness, Brie is going to interfere in that match. It's going to come down to once again Paige and AJ, and freaking Brie and Nikki are going to feud through hell in a cell. And you know what? We may
Survivor
get
Series.
Team Nikki.
Yeah.
I was about to say we may get Team Nikki versus Team Brie at Survivor Series.
I guarantee you that's what we get for the Divas Survivor. You saw what we saw. How many people were on the heel Divas team last year at Survivor?
It was a
Series?
14
It was ridiculous.
It was a 14 diva match, and it was rated the worst match of the year by PWI.
Incredibly.
And they did it the next night. They redid it the next night.
The next night, yeah.
And Eva Marie got the win.
They turned Caitlyn heel for no reason, just to put her in that match before she bounced out. That was so stupid. But that's exactly what we're gonna get again. Is Team Nikki versus Team Brie. It's exactly what's going to happen. Unless they do Team Paige versus Team AJ, which I hope they do.
And won't do.
But they won't do it, no. But again, look at what was trending last week during that horrid Diva segment. It wasn't Brie, and it wasn't Nikki, and it wasn't Steph, even though Steph's the biggest heel in the company. It was AJ Lee and Paige,
yeah.
which is where people care.
They don't. WWE doesn't care what we want anymore. Like, let's be honest. And I mean, watching Raw is now becoming like legitimately a chore. Like, it's 3 hours of like you're sitting there, you're tweeting, you're trying to interact with fans, and then it's just like you're trying to like keep focused on what's going on the screen, and you just can't because it's crap. And we try to defend it as much as possible because we are fans of the company and we always have been. But at the same time, it's like, when is enough for us? Like, when do we just put our foot down and say, you know what, I can't watch this anymore? It's unbearable.
I think Vince Russo's open letter to WWE management was spot on. Like, we want to like the show. This is something that I've sat down in front of to watch every single Monday since I was 7 years old. Like, this is something I want to be invested in. But I'm not interested right now. I've been watching the Attitude Era Raws on frickin' the network, and I'm going, it's an hour and 45 minutes of programming that I don't want to fast forward through. Why do we not have that same urgency in writing a show in 2014 than we did in 1998?
Is it because... Go ahead, Walter.
No, you go ahead.
Is it because that WWE has so many hands and so many different pots? Like, now with Total Divas, they have to build storylines. They have to put people on TV.
Doug, you brought up a point related to that.
Sake, they have to... Go ahead, John.
No, I was just saying Doug brought up a point related to that last week, saying that they're so focused on these other minute, ridiculous programs, or it turns out the other way, where they're only focused on the main event and nothing else gets spoiled. It's one or the other. It's never, okay, we're going to put all of our stock in the main event and still manage some other stuff. It's always only main event, nothing else, or everything else, nothing on the main event.
And I think the way they look at it is, you know what, these guys who talk about it on their weekly show, they're going to watch it every week. They might fast forward through parts. They might flip to football through parts. But the majority, they're going to get the full scope of Monday Night Raw, and
they're going to see the ratings tomorrow, and it's going to be awful. Like, I don't see them still getting the 4.2 million people that they've had watching the past 4 weeks. So, I mean, even last week went down from the week before. You can blame it on Labor Day, that's fine, but the week before that had gone down from previous weeks. Why? Because it got bad. You got 25 writers around the table trying to do different things. You got Mark Henry working 2 feuds. You got different. You can build a program when you got Mark Henry working 2 different angles.
Another thing, it might be a stretch, but I'm gonna attribute this to The Rock. Dwayne, he made some bad movies, and now he's number 2 in Hollywood since I last checked. And now, once WWE puts their face on their TV cameras for however many years, they want to go out and become a Hollywood star. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins was the hottest thing going. And back at the Attitude Era, we would have been giving them every week.
Yeah.
But they had to give him time off to go shoot the rest of the movie. And that feud's still going to be hot.
A movie that no one's going to see, by the way.
But that's a WWE film. WWE's making money off of that somehow.
Exactly right.
I'm aware.
So it's not like Dean Ambrose is going off to shoot a movie with Paramount Pictures or anything, you know?
Right, it's Lionsgate and WWE Studios. I mean, it's going to go straight to DVD and on demand.
And the point I was trying to make earlier was, like, in 2013, and we all, like, put our 2 cents in with our upcoming project that's about to come out. But I think the reason we kind of tolerated it was because we had the focal point being Daniel Bryan, and we were keeping track of his run to the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And then this year, it's almost as if, you know, we have Lesnar, and they're trying to make Cena, you know, be even more of a superhero and Superman or whatever, and overcome the Beast. But it's like the end game this time is WrestleMania 31, and with all the reports that are coming out about Roman Reigns being the next guy, and to be fair, the crowd is still split on Reigns. I know he gets a big pop, but I think a lot of people in the IWC are still wavering, including myself, on whether he can be the next champion in the new phase of the company, and I don't think he can.
And you know what? You know what's even worse for that guy? If they would stop putting him with John Cena, he would get over completely. But the thing is, especially for IWC guys, especially for the men in the audience, they're going to keep attaching him to John Cena, and he's going to get the same stink from John Cena put on him because of the association, and it's going to be bad. It's going to backfire in their freaking face.
And who booked that main event last week when the whole show were saying, well, Cena, does he deserve a rematch? Let's see if he can prove it in the main event. And then
John
he goes out of the ring. What, sorry?
I booked
John
it.
actually booked that on her warm-up.
No, you did book the tag team. No, what I'm saying is the way it ended with the whole night. They're saying, you know what, Cena, you need to prove to me that you deserve a rematch. What does he do? He delivers an attitude adjustment. He tags in Reigns, and then Reigns is the one getting his hand raised, and Cena's outside the ring. Look, I'm going to do that to Lesnar. You'll see in 2 weeks.
Right.
The hell? Why the hell did you tag in Reigns? What was the point of that? What an idiot. What a stupid move. Whoever books this crap, God, they don't even know how they're setting things up anymore.
You can thank a 70-year-old man whose finger is no longer on the pulse of what his fans want.
Unsuspend me on Twitter so I can rant even more about this stuff.
Side note, kudos to Triple H for his Teddy Long impersonation on SmackDown.
Dude, that was so awesome. Thank you. The funny thing is on Monday when they made this tag match, I posted a meme, and you can go see it. It's on Wrestle Rumors, and it's Teddy Long crying, basically. And I said, oh, what's wrong, Teddy Long? Why is Teddy Long not here, kind of thing. You're stealing his gimmick. And Natalia favorited it on Twitter. And then the next night, Triple H comes out and literally trolls as Teddy Long. I think that's
they gave him his music and everything.
Yes, they used his music at the end of it. If you did not see Triple H trolling the crowd as Teddy Long on SmackDown this past Friday night, YouTube it, because it is probably one of the funniest things I've seen in a very long time. Triple H knows. See, that's the thing. I honestly, Walter, I think you made the comment earlier, is that WWE just doesn't care about the fans want. I don't think that's completely true, because if you look at what Triple H is doing as far as the way he's building certain new guys in NXT, the fact that we have a performance center in NXT to begin with is proof that Triple H wants to create characters and create talent in-house. Not have to bring in a bunch of different guys. He'll bring in people from independents, sure, and then raise them up, but he doesn't want to take AJ Styles, who made his name in TNA, and bring him to WWE. He doesn't want to bring Kurt Angle back over from TNA back into WWE. He doesn't want to trade off like that. He wants to bring these guys up as being young men that haven't really been exposed on a major stage. And I think the reason that we believe right now that WWE doesn't care about us is because of the turmoil and the conflict backstage between creative hands, and the fact that last week's Raw, which was sloppy and terrible, was put together 3 hours before the show went live by Vince McMahon himself. And there's a 28-page script that is literally on WrestlingRumors.net that you can go look at every single page of the script, and just about every single thing on that script was followed to a T. So they're not going off script to make this thing awful. They're going exactly by what Vince McMahon wrote for them to do. The most entertaining parts of the show, Jericho and Triple H's banner, unscripted. It's not in the script. Triple H took a shot at Jericho for wearing the scarf. Jericho shot back for wearing a pink tie. They improv. If you see, Triple H almost dies out laughing when they're doing that banter back and forth. That wasn't scripted. That wasn't. I think that Triple H really wants to give the fans what they want. Hence, what we got at WrestleMania 30 with the Daniel Bryan situation. But it's just he's not allowed to do so because of Vince McMahon. And he literally said in a recent podcast with Jericho, Vince will have to die before he gives up control.
Wow.
And where do you go with that?
There you go. I still stand by the fact that I don't think WWE programming is going to get better until the rating changes, to be honest. And I've heard people make the point that, the target audience for WWE, is now that the younger, children or whatnot, people who still go to elementary school and middle school and what have you, they're not the ones staying up till 11 o'clock every night, The main people like us, our age, are still the ones who follow the product. We've been watching this since the Attitude Era, and I can't stand some of the corny, cheesy, one-liner bull plop that we keep getting week in and week out. It's becoming it hurts my brain, and I'm really I'm on the brink. I'm this close to saying, you know what? I know my Wrestling Rumors not that guy, but Jesus Christ, I can't watch Raw. I just can't. Thank you, NFL. Thank you, NFL, for coming back. Bless your heart.
And
it's not you, Ray Rice.
I think there's some flawed logic, and I never would have guessed flawed logic in the WWE. But anyway, they're pushing the network. It's only $9.99. And the Monday
there are
Night
T-shirts that say $9.99 now. That WWE shop sells. That, you guessed it, costs $9.99.
This is my point. If you want to watch Attitude Era Raw, if you want to watch sort of racy, on the edge of your seat Raw, you have to order the network. And I know they can't quite reach that level anymore, especially now that they're public and they have all these advertisement companies, millions of dollars agreements. But at least work with us a little bit. Give us, don't bring out the stupid. I can't think of the last dumb segment because it's all just kind of a wash.
How about the whole Adam Rose and the Bunny versus?
Yes,
the Bunny, that was terrible.
Yeah, give us some, like Vinny Russo would always say, just send guys out there, give them bullet points to hit, and then continue on with the promos because those are the best promos.
Yeah, I mean, it was freaking Jim Cornette on Twitter destroyed the WWE writing team a couple days ago. I guess Jim Cornette's about a few days behind when it comes to social media and breaking news and stuff like that. So I think it was on Friday. Which was 4 days after the script leak, and we had all 28 pages up on our website. He said, raw script, holy crap, 28 pages long. That's what kills professional wrestling. The writers and the creative team at WWE is what has killed the industry, and will continue to kill it until they change it. Because he and JR both have said the best wrestling shows came from when you had like Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara and Vince McMahon given a one sheet that it was a rundown of what was going to happen, and they let the wrestlers do their job. They let the guys go out there and talk. I mean, there's only a few guys right now that have the leeway to give their own promos, and that's Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose, and that's not okay. And John Cena went straight from the script the past 3 weeks. You could tell. I mean, you had, again, we talked about it last week, you had three legends who can talk. Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, and Ric Flair on the beginning of Raw, and all three of them read straight from a script. None of them showed their actual character. Not one of those Hall of Famers actually got to show themselves through what they were saying during that segment. And that's an issue. That's a terrible issue. My thing is, I think that it can stay TV PG. You can have some grittier stuff. I think you can do more, but the talent's got to be behind it. They got to be actually enjoying what they're doing, and they're not enjoying what they're doing right now. In my opinion, it can't be. I mean, the only guy that I go out there that every time they come out, I think this guy is loving what he's doing right now is Dean Ambrose, and that's why I think he's the next Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Well, Dolph too, but not Dolph being next to Steve Austin.
Yeah.
I meant Dolph looks like he loves what he's doing
in the ring.
Yeah.
Dolph thinks he should be a world champion, so.
Well, the problem with Ziggler is that Miz is kind of overshadowing him at this point. Even though he's Intercontinental Champion, I think they're trying to focus more on the fact that Miz has like this entourage around him now, and Damien Sandow has like his stunt double and what have you. I think Ziggler's almost getting lost in the shuffle in his own damn feud.
That's another guy who that's another guy who has the ability to speak and come up with his own stuff off the top of his head, be incredibly witty. That's Damien Sandow, and they don't let him do anything either.
Lindsay, do you buy his little promo that he did saying that things are going to change real soon? Do you buy it?
I hope.
No, I don't.
Because I don't.
He does have some.
Go ahead, Alex.
He has some weird thing that he always plugs. I guess it's on the app, which none of us will obviously watch. It's like Sandow 60. He's actually in his old character there, but who knows if they're going to bring it back because he's not on TV like that. Go ahead, though.
Well, for God's sakes, we got a WWE live event faction in Xavier Woods and Big E and Kofi Kingston that we don't see on TV. Why aren't we seeing that on TV? Because apparently they're killing it at the live shows. Can we talk about the live shows? Can we talk about how ridiculous this is? The Wyatt family lost to the Usos and the Big Khali on Saturday night.
Wow.
That's like
the Wyatt family lost to the Usos and Big Khali.
They've lost 20-plus matches in a row, the Wyatt family, Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, dating back several months ago. What the hell is WWE doing with Harper and Rowan? I know Wyatt's, he's kind of like his own separate deal now. But holy crap, and you've made the point that, Cesaro is also one of the most mishandled superstars on the roster.
Yes.
I think Harper and Rowan are right there with him.
I agree. And it's one of those things. The thing is, the losses don't bother me. It's how they're booked the rest of the show. Because, as we've said over and over again, especially on pay-per-view, losses can happen. But they have to be booked on Raw to be monsters where they kill people. and they're not doing it. That's a great mishandling. I agree completely.
Oh, give them luck. They were lumberjacks in that match at SummerSlam.
So bad.
How they messed up on Cesaro, and to go back what you said earlier with Sandow, boggles my mind. They take Sandow, first segment of Raw 1000, he gets squashed by DX. He was the guy back then. And then you could say Cesaro, he had that match with Sami Zayn that was on NXT. I believe that was their first pay-per-view or whatever. That was a 5-star match. Obviously him winning the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, and then getting Paul Heyman, and now he's fallen into obscurity. It's a shame.
Well, they're going to bring Cesaro back. I'm not losing faith on Cesaro coming up as a major player. I think they mishandled him for a season, and now it's a season premiere, guys. It's time for everybody gets a clean slate. Everybody gets a brand new angle and brand new pushes.
Did you ever
I still
think
have faith in Cesaro, though.
Did you ever think that kind of like WWE management is almost scared to like put someone else in like that top spot, or give some of these guys that fans are like craving for? Because there's a reason why John Cena's been basically the face of the company for almost a decade. We all call for a heel turn. We just call for some sort of character change, and I don't think WWE wants to do that because they don't want to isolate what they already have, which is starting to dwindle anyways. Why not just take the risk and say, you know what? Let's just throw balls to the wall here. Let's try something new, something that might lure in newer fans.
And my thing is, what's the risk at this point? You lose, like John Cena's not going to be asked to do Make-A-Wish Foundation things anymore.
Yeah. Well, for a public company, that's a big deal.
It is a big deal, but the thing is that is a public company with all these lawsuits coming out against WWE and their finances and their misleading of the stockholders and all this bull crap that's going on this year. With all those lawsuits hitting them in the face, do you not think that with something like a John Cena heel turn, or programming that actually reaches the fans where the fans want it to go, do you not think that that's going to bring more viewers to the product, which in turn will bring more money to the product, which will in turn make those guys happier? Just because they're losing their top face and making him heel? Thing is, John Cena turns heel, everybody's going to cheer him again and want to see what he's doing. Same thing that happened with Hogan in '96. It'll bring people back to the product.
You put Cena with the authority or make him a Paul Heyman guy, and I tell you right away, people are going to be like, we got to tune in to Raw every week because we need to see how this whole thing's going to play out. But they're not going to do that. They probably never will.
Guys, we were the ones who forced WWE to make another star, and that was Daniel Bryan. They tried to bury him so many times, and eventually he did reach the top of the food chain, and now we see where he's at. And WWE is still reluctant to make another star to even try to come close to John Cena.
Well, they're trying with Roman Reigns, and that's what scares me because they are attaching Roman Reigns to John Cena. He's getting that stink.
Someone, I don't remember who it was on Twitter, brought up a really good point this week, so I apologize for not remembering, but they are missing Daniel Bryan right now real bad, and it's not in the way that you think they're missing him in the sense that, he's a main eventer. They're missing him for his energy. His energy propelled Raw going forward every single night that it dragged. You looked forward to watching the Daniel Bryan match because you knew he was going to bring it, and it was just going to keep it going.
And honestly, I think that energy level has transferred over to Dean Ambrose, who's not on TV right now.
Yeah, definitely. But the difference here is that Dean Ambrose is not in the main event. Daniel Bryan was in the main event, and he was bringing that energy to the main event.
But let's look at the early part of 2013. He wasn't always in the main event. He was in the middle of Raw.
No, but he was in major programs through most of 2013.
It started when he and Kane broke up in April.
Exactly.
But he did not get into main event matches until right around June when they started doing the whole summer, the SummerSlam.
So let's say that's
the gauntlet matches and all that stuff, the gauntlet matches and all those things. They started propelling him into the main event spot when he wasn't before. He was in a tag team title spot. But even when the tag titles were in the main event each night on Raw and SmackDown, who was he going against? The Shield, most of the time. And that's why you have these guys that have that kind of energy going back and forth. I think that if Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose bring their program back to Raw, we're going to get that energy back. But that's what I'm saying. We are missing Daniel Bryan's type of energy. No one else brings that. You know, no one else brings that. Chris Jericho used to bring that, but he hasn't during this last run, really. So where's the energy going to come from? It's got to be Dean Ambrose. It's got to be those guys because it definitely isn't. Roman Reigns does not bring that kind of energy. He's a slow, manipulative. You know, like everything is thought about, and everything is monster beast that's going to come in and be the strong man.
Let me toss this idea at you guys because I mean, are you all aware of who Jason Solomon is, right? Or you heard his name before? Well, he had someone emailed him and they threw a hypothetical scenario out for WrestleMania 31 and beyond. And what they proposed was, we're on. This is under the assumption that we get Reigns and Lesnar in the main event.
Right.
If Reigns becomes WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and this is also under the assumption that WrestleMania might be Lesnar's last show for a while, based on what his contract allows him to do. If Roman Reigns, if they do a double turn basically, and Lesnar turns face, Roman Reigns becomes heel, and Reigns aligns with Heyman, leading us into the months following, is that something that can kind of almost get interest back into the company? If Reigns becomes, because I feel like Reigns is going to start teetering on that face kind of heel kind of crowd reaction sooner or later, like you said, if he keeps aligning himself with Cena.
Right, but that's I don't. The thing with the Cena stink is because the smart fans that are in the arena read the reports and know, okay, Roman Reigns is the design guy. The crowd was getting over with Roman Reigns, like he was getting over with the crowd. People were really behind him when they first broke up the Shield, kind of thing. They're behind Ambrose more. They're behind Roman Reigns at the same time, but now you're positioning Roman Reigns to be the next John Cena. Everybody knows that. He's getting the cheesy, he's got the 5 moves of doom, which everybody has. It's just about how you can switch them up to make them, more exciting each time they come out. It's different instead of the same look every single time. It's one of those things where the fans have, attached themselves to Dean Ambrose more than Roman Reigns. And the thing is, the Roman Reigns stigma is he's just going to be the next John Cena, and he's going to be in the same exact spot. So if you do a heel turn, I think the heel turn only works if it's John Cena. Because if it's Roman Reigns, the fans are going to want to boo Roman Reigns because he is that cheesy next John Cena. But if you put him as an actual heel, you go turn Seth Rollins face?
That's what they actually proposed, is that Reigns would become an authority guy, Rollins would get jealous, and they can kind of do what they did back in the 90s with The Rock when he joined the corporation, and Mankind was kind of left in the dust, and they did Mankind Rock. They could do the same thing with Rollins Reigns.
But that's because people had sympathy for Mankind. The Mankind character is supposed to gain sympathy. Look, they want to do that with Roman Reigns? Go ahead. You wasted an entire year turning him into a babyface and developing talent. You wasted an entire year developing talent.
Would we hold that? I mean, WWE has a history of doing that stuff.
I've never seen a case of them spending an entire year building someone up to be a big name. Because, first off, they haven't done that in a long time. So I've never seen a case like that where they have proven that that's a historical repeat. Where have they done that before?
He wasn't a main. Well, he was a main event guy.
No, I'm just saying. Where have they? No, but Ryback had 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah, his time wasn't as long as Roman Reigns, but he was in a position with that winning streak.
3 4 months, yes, but 3 4
months
Ryback's
is a good example.
Time investment that a year. Ryback,
it's as close as an example you can get.
Ryback was a 3 4 month thing, and he had no programs prior to that. Roman Reigns is having a year-long program with the Authority, pretty much, when all is said and done, because it's going from WrestleMania to WrestleMania. So if they want to blow that all up on one night just to have him turn heel for the shock factor, it's some serious misplaced judgment.
You know they nearly did that with Daniel Bryan, right, with the whole Wyatt family thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they realized better that it wasn't going to work. So
the Michigan State guy started the yes chants.
I don't think anyone's going to be pumping their fist at some college football games, so we don't have to worry about that.
Well, you never know. Somebody could just go, hoorah! They start tackling people.
I mean, Doug, can you think of a moment where they've done that before? Honestly speaking,
an entire year build.
Yeah.
No. You look back at when it's worked. Shawn Michaels in Shawn Michaels in 1995 to 1996 was an entire year build for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. He won the title. Go to 1997 where things got screwy because if you didn't know what was going on with Bret Hart, you didn't know where he was going to actually be going. So that one got screwy. But you got the double turn with him and Austin, which started skyrocketing Austin towards the face run, and it was literally from WrestleMania 13 to WrestleMania 14, Austin with a rocket up his ass from March to April, or March to March at that point. It was Austin is going to be the next guy, and they built it that way the entire time, and you knew what was going to happen. They did the same thing. You want to talk about The Rock, that was a kind of weird dynamic because The Rock was a heel that got over in 98. And so they turned him face for a minute and then turned him right back heel at the Deadly Games tournament because they knew, okay, this is going to make some things. So if you want to do that at if Roman Reigns started getting hot and hot and hot and hot and hot, as a face moving forward, and you want to turn him heel in the fall and then turn him face again. Like that's and then make him, do the Rock dynamic with him. That's fine. But I don't see them doing that. If it's going to be completely, year-to-year build like they did. They did the same thing with Cena in 2005 or 2004 to 2005. You knew Cena was growing, and they pushed him in that spot. It's one of those things. They haven't really done that since. You look at the big gold belt at the time. They did a 6-month build with Batista to put Batista over Triple H. Like that was a good thing, but that backfired as well. It's one of those situations where that they build this guy up for the next year, or for the rest of the 6 months that we have left till WrestleMania. That's to me, they have to go that route. If they're going to push this guy into to the top spot, then it's got to be a complete babyface run going through the powers to be all the way up to it's me and Lesnar at WrestleMania.
If there was ever a guy who needed a mouthpiece, it's Roman Reigns.
The thing is if they would let him, audience, we've talked about the fact that he's one of the only characters that gets to say ass and bitch and hell whenever he wants to because they want him to have that attitude edge to him. But at the same time, that's all he says at this point is little short one-liners. He's like your Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's your action hero that says cheesy one-liners. And that's what people hated with John Cena once John Cena stopped being the Doctor of Thugonomics and was raping people with freestyle raps every single week. When he started being cheesy and saying the same thing just about every single week, that's when people started getting ill and cold on Cena, and that's what's going to happen. If Roman Reigns comes out and does one-liners every single time, it's going to be bad.
Roman Reigns should be booked as an action speaks louder than words kind of character.
Yeah, I agree.
Does anyone disagree with that?
I've said that from the beginning. He needs to be like it's mute. He just needs to let his fighting and his brawling in the ring do all the talking for him, but they decided to give him a microphone for some reason, and I think it's backfired.
Honestly,
his
I
best
think
line right now is like, how about we do this tonight?
Well, we rarely see faces booked
Believe
like
that.
that. We see heels booked like that, but we rarely see faces booked like that.
Right, which I think Ryback may have had a better chance early on if he wasn't yelling things all the time and then getting the microphone and speaking or excuse me, when he would do his backstage promos as a face, he would honestly channel the Ultimate Warrior to do his daggum promos. It was bad. And I think that helped kill his momentum at first as well. And then, of course, the whole bully thing was awful.
You're hurting Alex's feelings here, man.
The bullying wasn't awful.
I'm being honest.
It's
I'm just saying
A bully!
it's obviously one of the things that killed his momentum. I think that he's a lot better off now doing his little big guy shtick and doing what he did in that video before his surgery, which apparently wasn't even that serious. He just made it look even more serious during the video. But it's one of those things where if he does that kind of stuff more often, he's going to get back over with the crowd. He's already getting over with the crowd again. So I think that he has a better chance doing that. But I think that the way they booked him was as Goldberg, and Goldberg didn't speak for a year. So and that's how you booked that's how you book a monster face like that. You don't have him speak. Goldberg came out and destroyed everybody, but didn't say anything. Didn't say anything.
Doesn't
that
that say
how you book him right?
About the programming that we get on a week-to-week basis? They put Ryback out there with Curtis Axel, and now that Ryback's on the shelf, the most charisma he's had was a recorded. He did a video on his free time.
Never got to talk.
You got 60 writers or whatever gathering in a boardroom planning out an entire Raw.
You say that.
That's the issue.
You say that, and then Alex just goes, "See, it was Axel who was holding him down." That's what it was.
But it's not. It's the writers. It goes all the way back to what we were talking about earlier. It's the writers. These guys are going out, and instead of pulling a CM Punk and throwing the script back in their face, instead of doing Bray Wyatt says the same thing. If you've watched any interview with Bray Wyatt when he talks about his promos, because that's what everybody wants to ask about, he says nobody writes for me. They give me ideas and that kind of stuff, and then I go out there and speak. If they try to give me a script, I put it back in their chest. I just put it right back on them.
You can
and it's one of those things where we need other superstars that will do that. Step up and say, I want to speak myself. You got people like Randy Orton who try to remember their lines and can't, and have to ask Sheamus, what's my line?
And the point that Bray Wyatt made was he's not, because he does his interviews in character to a degree, which is pretty impressive. And
Right.
he says, they're not going to tell me what Bray Wyatt's supposed to say. I'm going to say what Bray Wyatt's going to say.
Right.
And that's how these guys need to think. It's exactly what you just said. Would Ric Flair really be saying some of the? Would Ric Flair really be saying, you know what? He's 38 years old. He's too old to be wrestling there. Are you kidding me?
Right.
The guy who
When the night before on the pre-show, he's like, John Cena's my guy. He's my champion. You're gonna tell him to give up?
Doug, when you and John dissected to start off your show last week, when you guys dissected that segment of the panel, honestly, I enjoyed it more than the actual panel itself because there's so many flaws in it.
ratings.
It was a joke. Like you guys said, you're gonna have Shawn Michaels play the super heel, Ric Flair telling Ric Flair telling a guy that he's too old, and Hulk Hogan doing his regular spiel that, I'm the face, brother.
No, Hulk Hogan didn't do his regular spiel, man. Hulk Hogan did what the WWE's been making him do since he came back in February. That's the issue. Even Hulk Hogan's coming out and trying to remember his lines, and he can't remember them. He's flubbing what he's got to say, and that's the issue, man. They want you to go strictly off the script. Everything has to be approved. You can't veer off, and if you veer off and get over, they're going to bury you for a couple weeks. Hence Cesaro. Hence these guys that go out there and show their personality and do what they got to do to get over with the fans. They start getting over, and then for some reason, because WWE doesn't want to push them yet, they squash them, and it's bad. It's bad. The business used to be you go out there, and because you have to sell tickets, you have to put butts in the seats, then you have to go out there and be a character. You have to go out there and show your charisma, get yourself over. And as Russo has said in the back of at WWE, especially during the Attitude Era, if a guy started getting over, they strapped a rocket to him and shot him off because he's getting over with a crowd that's extremely hostile. Well, guess what? It's 2014. Your crowd's extremely hostile again. They don't want to watch your freaking crappy show on Monday nights, even though they've been doing it for 23 years. And the issue is you're still not shooting off the guys that they want. Like, you're not sending a push to the guys that people want anymore. And the only time that they've done that in recent years is Daniel Bryan, and that's because Punk left and other things happened. If Punk had not quit, and for the people that want to just trash Punk all the time, I'm not a fan of the fact that he left. I'm not a fan of the way that he left. Whatever. If you wanted to leave, wait till July when your contract's up. That's my opinion on that. But for me, if Punk had not left, we would never have seen Daniel Bryan in that main event at WrestleMania 30. Never. It would not have happened. But the fact that he did, and the fact that the fans revolted like they did, that's why we got that push. And I think it's one of those things where, and we've said it over and over again on this show, if you're this pissed off at the product, stop watching it, because then they'll have to make a change. If it bothers you this much that this product sucks this bad, stop watching. Turn it off. And when the ratings aren't there, when they're not getting consistently 4 million viewers every single Monday night, then they'll have to change something up.
And is there anyone else having a problem I'm kind of looking into it, when people get jobber entrances, because that's what it seems like it's been falling on, like the Cesaros of the world, who just, when the show comes back from a commercial, he's already in the ring, and a couple other upper mid-card stars. Do you guys look into that at all?
They did it to Rowan Harper, I think, one time, didn't they?
Yeah, they did actually.
It's a 3-hour show. You would think you have some time for entrances instead of just shoving down replays down our throats.
Is there anything to look into that, Doug?
Well, I would say that looking into that is exactly what B-Song just alluded to. They're taking more time on the show to promote the network. They're taking more time on the show to show an interaction between 3 Hall of Famers and John Cena. They showed that replay 4 times. They showed an 8-minute replay 4 times during a 3-hour broadcast, when they could be allowing guys to come out and show their charisma during an entrance, when they could be allowing people to come in and do whatever they want to do in the ring. It's one of those things where I honestly think that the reason you get the jobber entrances at this point, there's always been jobber entrances, but for actual jobbers, like for guys that didn't have, the local wrestlers that came in to work a squash match with somebody, got those entrances. When you have guys like Cesaro who have a fan base, and you're doing that consistently to the guy, where who was it last week? Where somebody last week, like I want to say it was Cesaro. Yeah. Literally, they brought out who did Rusev face last week? Zack Ryder.
It was Ryder, yeah.
So yeah, it was Ryder last week, which is fine because he is a jobber. But one of the things where Rusev came out before commercial break, it came back from commercial break with Rusev's music playing, and Ryder was standing in the ring.
Yeah, I didn't understand
Rusev's that. Music playing, so he didn't even get any kind of. They didn't play his music. They didn't do anything for the guy. And I think it's one of those things. That's fine. He's a jobber, but you can tell where their priorities are with that. They're trying to get Rusev over, which is fine because Rusev needs to be put over as a monster. But the amount of the rollbacks to the stats on the week. How many people were on social media this week, and how many people watched Raw this week? And the Raw was the #1 cable show, and then showing 90 different repeats of different things from SmackDown and from Total Divas and the stupid Growing Up Bella segment from last week that kept airing every other daggum commercial break. Those things can be cut out, and we can have more backstage interactions between superstars, more things that they show on the app because they expect us to watch 90 different screens while I'm trying to watch one. Like, it's one of those things where I blame the internet, I blame digital and social media, and them thinking, well, we can do all these other extra things that we used to do that actually built storylines on an app. So people have to, and if they want to watch this and get what's actually happening behind the scenes there, they can do that. But if not, then we'll just show them whatever the heck we want on TV, and they'll like it because they're still watching. And I don't like it.
If you think things are bad now, just wait until the network breaks even and gets that subscriber number they want, because then at that point it'll be like, whatever, we got these people locked in, we got their money for the pay-per-views, we can throw them anything we want on a weekly basis, which they're basically doing now, and we're just going to eat it up and we don't have a choice.
Well, this is what we got. This is what we got, bros. This is what we're going to get. We're going to get an Orton and Reigns match, which will probably be the main event tonight. I would expect a screwy finish. If John Cena comes out to help Roman Reigns, which I totally expect to happen, because I expect the Authority to get involved in that match, the Authority to try to take out Roman Reigns, even Triple H probably getting involved, and then you have John Cena come out and make the save. I would hope that's not the case, but it's probably going to be the case, and people are going to be hating the finish of Raw. But I guarantee you that'll be your main event. You'll probably get the Jerry Springer Bella segment around 10 o'clock, which is awful. And then you got the Paige AJ Lee stuff, probably around 9. Stephanie and them coming out and doing something at 9. Cage match opens the show at 8. Hopefully that'll be a good match. It should be, but maybe that'll give us some more clarity on what's going to happen with Bray Wyatt at Night of Champions. But the way they're booking them right now, they just don't care. And it's one of those things where, with the amount of with the matches that are advertised for tonight, I should be more excited about this show than I am. But I'm not, because the past couple weeks have been absolutely hard to watch. But this is what we got tonight. If you're looking forward to interacting with people, you can actually do so on the new Wrestling Rumors Raw live community page. It'll be launching 10 minutes before Raw every single Monday night. It's a new live community where you can come in. It's a chat room kind of like what you're in right now. If you're watching this program, there's a chat room underneath. Make yourself a chat name, get yourself registered, and you can hang out with a bunch of different guys and girls that are watching Raw. You can react to each other. You can react to the program. It's just a live community for you guys to be able to hang out and watch the show together. If you do that through Twitter, that's cool. Follow us on @WrestleRumors. We'll be live tweeting through there. You can follow @WalterSports26 until @WalterSports comes back. You can follow Chris on @WalterSports26. He'll be live tweeting the show tonight and probably talking more about football and/or Big Brother because Raw sucks. You can Follow at the NB Show. Brian, do you have a personal account you want them to follow?
Chichak 8 or Brian84 Chichak. I messed that up.
Brian84 Chichak, and that's Bryan, correct?
Yes.
Not BRI. And of course, you can follow Alex Bsong at GlassModeALB. And of course, you can follow me at Doug O'Mac or at WrestleRumors. We're going to be live tweeting all night during Raw. And of course, you can join us on the new page that'll launch at 7:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single Monday night, the live community for Raw. And you can get in there and say whatever the heck you want about what's going on in the program. I expect and you should probably use discretion, because I guarantee you there's going to be some flippant obscenities being used in major form in that chat room.
And
because that's what we want to do on Twitter, and then people get blocked and suspended, and memes go out that are more amusing than the show.
Doug, if you want to talk about the fundraiser that we started, I think it's on WrestlingRumors.net. Right
it
now.
will be. I think Nick said that he was going to be adding a link to that. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
You want me to open up about that real quick?
Go ahead, talk about that for a second. We're getting off of here in about 2 minutes.
Well, we started we launched a fundraiser for ALS. All of the proceeds, 100%, is going to that foundation. And Nick and I made some phone calls, and we got some autographs. Here is Karen Jarrett. You can get this one for $5? $10. Sorry. You got Matt Morgan here, good friend of the show, the Blueprint, $15. The Franchise, Shane Douglas. There's a 5x7. We have how many? 10 of those? 20 of these for 15. And Jeff Jarrett, Double J, Global Force.
J double F.
You got
J double R.
Where's Double M?
E double T.
M is not. We didn't get him, but Global Force Wrestling. There we go. That's $20. And the beautiful Jeff and Karen Jarrett, $25. And there's 5 of these. We have NHL and NBC broadcaster and Carolina Hurricanes play-by-play John Forsland. 10 of those 8x10s for $10.
There you go. Carolina Hurricanes.
10 or $5.
And if you want to donate $5, you donate a bucket of ice water to get dumped on our heads, and you can donate $5 for a shout out on Twitter, and we would make a phone call to you thanking for the donation. Or if you just like to be a good Samaritan and not receive any perks, you can donate however much you want, and just do it out of the goodness of your heart. And thank you for letting me share that, Doug.
Yeah, dude. Y'all are part of Wrestling Rumors as well. We'll let you do whatever you got to do to get across, and especially when it's for a good cause. You've been watching Wrestling Warm Up at 7:30. The kickoff show to Raw begins now. They don't really do much except for have Booker T say just absolutely ignorant things about nothing on there. So go watch that. Alex Riley is always a douche. Go check that out. So we're going to be live tweeting Raw here at 8 o'clock. Of course, the new live community will launch at 7:50, and we'll catch you then. This has been Wrestling Warm Up on WrestlingRumors.net. See you next time.
Free Walder Sports!
Oh my God.